Welcome to the You Matter podcast, where we have real conversations with real people about resilience, about hope, about strength, about challenge, and how we can turn some of our greatest pain into our greatest purpose. So get what you will, leave what you don't, but stick around because you will get something. Today, we're inviting Gena Elliot, the author of Southern Stock, amazing book. We're going to get into this, where she really gets into some real challenges and real excitement. And it's a story about her father. Her father was one of the greatest race car drivers in world history. And so I'm excited for her to share her story and dive into her journey and the heart behind this book. So thanks, Gena, for joining
Thank
us on
you.
the show. Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to write Southern Stock and a little bit about connecting that with some of your childhood trauma that you
Yes,
faced?
absolutely. Happy to. So I had always heard stories about my dad being this like larger than life figure. He was kind of a badass. I don't know if I can say that on camera. You can bleep it
Yes, you
out.
can say whatever you want.
So he was a badass. He was a legend in the South on the dirt tracks and also raced a little bit in the NASCAR circuit. But my dad died when I was very young, very suddenly and very tragically. And I'd heard these stories my whole life, and I thought, like my whole life, I thought this is not fair. You know, I grew up without a dad, and he was this great person that everybody has all these wonderful stories about, and I never really got to know him past the age of 5. So during COVID, I pulled out an old college essay that I'd written about him and kind of built an entire book around that. I think that for me, it was cathartic just to kind of get all those feelings out on paper. And I wanted the world to know him for the wonderful human being that he was. But I think also, I feel like the world now needs something authentic, like we're craving something authentic. I think because of social media, which can be a really good thing and be a useful tool, just like you're using it, right? But
Okay.
at the same, right. I think at the same time, people see these curated lives of others, the
Right.
beautiful people with the trips and the beautiful cars and their hair's perfect and everything's perfect. And I think real people are just not like that, right? And so I think we're really craving like human communication, storytelling. We're craving something real, something authentic. And that's exactly what this book is.
See, that's beautiful. Authenticity is something huge. So I don't know if anyone can see this bruise on my face. I almost didn't do the podcast today because one of my really great friends gave me a gift of making me look a little younger. For the women out there that have had filler or have not, that's not very authentic, but I'm authentically telling you that I'm 51 years old. Well, not yet. June 17th, I'm ahead of the game. But I used to be in the beauty industry, and that was what we did. We wore our masks. It was all about our looks. And being a woman, not to get off the topic of your book because we'll come around, but
You can circle
being a
back.
woman as we age, it's very challenging to see the different things in our face. So I'm pointing out my bruise today for authenticity because I'm someone who is trying to age as gracefully as she can. And since I'm not in the industry anymore, I have to get it as gifts. So thank you out there for the person that's listening that gave me this gift. Anyway,
And you look
back.
beautiful
Oh, thank you.
inside and out.
So do you. And that's the beauty, is that there is a beauty inside and out. It's not all about our physical appearance. And I had to come to a humbling of that. And in that, there are moments and times that people will gift us with things to make us feel a little better. But aging gracefully is a challenge. So all the ladies out there that hear that, even men, I'm talking real shit. Anyways,
That's
so
that's true. We
I'm
all
talking
feel
real
it.
shit.
We all feel it.
So one of the things that stood out to me in Southern Stock was that beneath all of the speed and the grit and the outlaw culture that your dad was in, it seemed that he was carrying an internal heartache, almost like he was outrunning something emotionally. How could you connect his journey with many people today who are doing the same thing in their own lives?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, one of the things that the book kind of delves into a bit is that my father was raised, well, his mother at the age of 3 was diagnosed with schizophrenia and
Right.
went into a mental institution at that point. His father had never been around. So, my dad was raised by his grandfather. And I think that probably I don't see how it couldn't have haunted my dad kind of his whole life. You know, he had this male figure, but he never really had a father. It was his grandfather that was raising him. And then I think at some point, I allude to this in the book, he starts to question himself, like, is something going on with my mind?
Yeah.
I going to end up in the same boat? You know, and I think that that kind of weighed on him. That is touched on in the latter parts of the book when he's thinking about his mom and he has something kind of going on in his brain and he's like, is that really there? Or is that, you know, can I believe myself and trust myself? So he kind of had his own trauma. And when they found his mother to begin with, that was a pretty traumatic experience, which the book touches on it as well. Just some of the things that she was doing, you know, finding her sitting in the middle of the floor
Yeah.
hovering under a blanket and rocking back and forth saying, you know, the men are coming to get me.
Right.
You know, that was, I
Gosh.
think as a young child, the story is that he ran out of the house because he was scared and he didn't know what to do. And that's a lot of trauma for a little kid.
That is a lot of trauma for a little kid. And thank you so much for sharing your heart and stories because there's other people out there that are going through similar stuff. We all are going through something these
That's
days.
right.
So I love hearing the connection and the authenticity and the realness of his story and that you share that in your book. So, you know, Hope Unite's mission is to let people know that they matter, especially during moments of isolation and emotional darkness. So, in your book, your dad chases success, adrenaline, and recognition. Do you think he was longing for something deeper under that, under those things he was chasing? What do you think that is?
I think so. Great question. I think he was looking for, you know, we could analyze it a lot of different ways, right? But
Right.
maybe he was looking to run away from something, perhaps run away from his childhood, run away from the stability that he didn't have, the kind of mother figure that he didn't have. And he, you know, buried himself in that kind of car chase speed, kind of fast track life with, you know, women and
Adrenaline.
all of this kind of stuff and was kind of scared of that. And there's
Yeah.
actually, I touch on that in the book too, where there's a point where he meets my mother and he falls in love with my mother. And like he falls deeply in love with her. At the same time, sorry, Dad, I don't think he was necessarily faithful to her during the entire time they were together. And I think he struggled with that because I think he truly, once one part of him really, he truly, truly loved her. But I think
Right.
maybe he was scared of the stability. You know, he loved his family, loved his kids, but maybe he was scared of settling down.
Now, there's men out there that are listening to this that I'm sure can connect with that as well,
Yes.
you know? And so
Yes.
on that topic, on that point, do you think that his childhood was created a fear for him of intimacy?
I mean, you know, he didn't, if you don't have a mother figure, the mother figure is important in a boy's life, right? Like,
Yeah.
for your mother is your security blanket, right? And, you know, maybe he was scared of that because he never felt that sort of love from a woman. And maybe that frightened him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't
that,
make him a bad person.
no,
Yeah.
it doesn't make him a bad person. I'd like to say that too to any guys out there that maybe have been challenged with the same thing. To be emotionally vulnerable and connected to one human is one other, human is very challenging because that loss of that human, if it was to come, and we all know that, death happens, sickness happens, breakup happens, can create some sort of insecurity to give your whole heart to somebody. And I believe that that could be a reason that men, or I'll just speak to men right now since we're talking about your dad, may have that roaming eye or, get into the place where they're married or they're with someone that they love so much, but yet they still want to attach to others just in case.
Right.
It's like
Right.
to keep the ego, to keep the ego. And to give them some sort of sense of security. I mean, these are just my thoughts as I'm
Yeah.
thinking them. I'm not saying it's not every and all for anything. I don't believe
Right.
there's a one size fits all to anything. That's why we started this podcast. And that's why we have the message that you matter as a person and you are loved and you are valuable. And this book talks a lot about what it's like to be amazing and have all of the attention from all of the people and the adrenaline and just how big and known he was to the heartache that he actually was really feeling on the inside and how that transferred over to his marriage. Can you talk a little bit about that with the situation with your dad and mom?
Yeah. Like I said, they really loved each other. They were both in love and they had three beautiful children together, right?
And
And
you're one of them.
yeah, one of them. I'm just one of them. But I think that my dad did at some point struggle with the lifestyle. He had just chosen a very fast-paced lifestyle and it was hard to let go of, right? And I think that he probably, look, I was young, so I don't really know, but I've heard that he probably struggled with that quite a bit, as well as my mother did. I don't want to discount her part in this as well, right? Like she struggled with some pain and some hurt, but she loved him through it all. And she loved him until the day that she died, which was last year
Mhm.
in
Oh,
February. She just,
God bless.
despite, whatever happened between them, she loved him dearly. And so I think that one of the lessons that we learn is that you just never know what someone's been through, whether it's childhood trauma or something that happened in their adult life that has led them to make the decisions that they make. And I think if we just come at it at a place of understanding and trying to get to know each other better, which is what you're all about, right? Hope Unite is about communicating and connecting, and we connect with each other. Yeah, maybe we just understand each other a little bit better and be more accepting.
Compassionate too, because when we
Compassion.
realize our own human struggles, because nobody's perfect, we all
That's right.
have our little dark spots in our life. All of us, every person has a dark
Yep.
spot or a few of them. Don't run from that dark spot. That's part of who makes you who you are. Don't run from the pain. That's part of who makes you who you are. You can heal from the pain, but that pain is a part of who you are. Like for me, I've had a few loved ones take their life that were very close to me, one being my husband, which is where Hope Unite began and the You Matter movement. If you want to check us out, you can check out our social media, visit our website. We're a global kindness movement where we encourage people to be kind, and we have a support hotline for people to call and talk. Our our message to the people out there is life is hard. We're here to listen. So our number for anyone who's listening that maybe feels like I just want to vent or I just want to get some things off my chest is 1571 HOPE. So give us a call. We also do connections with therapy and holistic healing because again, not everybody heals the same. So we're not sitting here saying, "Hey, we're going to tell you what's going to work for you." You know what works for you. We're just going to give you the tools. Pick and choose which tools that you feel resonate with you. So that's a big part of our mission here at Hope Unite. And on that note, Gena has become our next ambassador of hope, which
Yay.
is, yes, so exciting. What we do is we invite people that have a large reach to share the message that you matter with their community and our support number, because the more people we can support together, the more people get supported. And that's really where our heart is. So thank you, Gena, for being our next ambassador of hope. And what we do is we give out flowers in card form. So we give
Ooh.
out these cards. They have wildflower seeds in them. We ask people, "Can I give you some flowers?" And we hand them a card. And then the back of the card is "Life is hard. We're here to listen." So, and it's got our support number on it so that people can call us. So it's an act of kindness and a message of support for people that need it. If you're interested in being a part of the You Matter movement, you can get your cards through our website as well, hopeunite.org. A lot of people want to say Hope United. Oh yeah, I've heard of them. And I'm like, no, it's Hope Unite because the goal is to unite hope. Gena and her story is a part of hope. Anybody out there that's a race car driver that can resonate with this story, that even that can't, I really encourage you to go get her book. And I want to give it to Gena and tell us, where can we find Southern Stock?
Yeah, so you can find it on my website, genaelliott.com, or Amazon is an easy place to find it as well. So thank you for that. And, back to what you're doing and communicating and connecting people and bringing hope to people and happiness and joy and everything even with your cards, it reminds me that art is one of those things that brings people together,
Art.
right?
Yes. And
when you're
music.
when you're Music is a form of art. Music,
Right.
writing, storytelling, poetry, painting, whatever it is. So that's one of the things I'm trying to do. I write poetry, I write other books, and I just want to get back to storytelling as an art form because I think that that is something that we're kind of missing, is that connection and that ability to talk about ideas back and forth in an open-minded sort of way, right? Learn
Yeah,
lessons from
because
each other.
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I
Yeah,
do that
no, it's okay.
sometimes.
You know who used
Yes,
to,
learning.
yeah, you know how people used to, long time ago, people would sit around a fire, right?
Yeah.
Outside, just like made of sticks, and they would tell stories that were passed down from generation to generation. And then as
Right.
time moved on, we had hearths in the home, and people would sit in front of the fireplace and they would tell stories. And this was their entertainment, right? Music and stories. And I
Mhm.
think like with the advent of computers and iPhones, I think we've replaced the fire, the hearth, with like a screen. And I think it's,
Yeah.
while it can't has the ability to connect us through like what you're doing right here and right now, I think it also has the ability to make people feel very isolated. And I would love to get back to just people just sitting around talking. I mean, I remember my grandfather, I have an uncle, Jake, who was like a wonderful human. I'm convinced he was an angel. He was
Aw.
one of the best humans I've ever met in my entire life. And when I was a little
Aw.
kid, I would just sit near him and he would tell me stories. He was in the war, and he would tell me war stories, but he would also tell me just any kind of story that he could think of. And it brought such joy and happiness to my life. I had a rough childhood, and it was one of those moments that I really look forward to every day, was going to see Uncle Jake so he could tell me stories. And I think
Yeah.
that for anybody out there, whether it's, calling a hotline if you need help and just having
Right.
somebody to listen to you, or finding some form of art, if it's a museum, if you pick up a paintbrush or a pencil and draw something, or just listen to your favorite song, I think these are all ways that we can help to soothe ourselves during rough times, help to
Yes.
bring joy and happiness to ourselves, but also to others. And I think artists are a big part of that.
I love that you touched on
Agree.
that because I use a lot of those tools for my own emotional well-being when I actively practicing emotional well-being. Here's the funny thing. We're not, I come on here, we come on here and we share our stories with you, but we want to make sure that you know that we're not coming on here like, "Hey, we got it all together," and we're telling you that, you can get it all together too. It's not that. It's literally human connection and authenticity. The month of April was so dark for me, and Gina actually knows a little bit about this, that it took a lot to even shower or get out of bed sometimes because I was handling a lot. And I just kept saying to myself, April showers bring May flowers. Like what I would do in
You
those
have a
dark
great
spots when
attitude.
yeah. Well, I would keep repeat that was my mantra cycling in my head. April shower. I was like, and then getting up and putting a little bit of frequency music on, or Lincoln Jesser. He's one of my favorite. He's a DJ sound healer. He's also an ambassador of hope with us. So definitely check him out. But just little things that you can do when you don't want to do anything. Cause that was me. I have a plethora of mental health tools to use.
Yeah.
And I felt like I couldn't even pick them up and I didn't want to. And I had to have grace with myself during that time. Like, be like, it's okay. You can feel. You're allowed to go through this. I'm still reaching out when I need to. I'm still getting up out of bed, making sure my kids get to school. They're all fed. Success. No, I
Mhm.
didn't get as much done as I maybe wanted to get done, in April, but I'm here in May and I'm feeling a little better. And I actually feel like there's been some emotional and personal growth within the challenge. Cause that's what I notice is every time I go into a hard spot, on the other side, there's a lesson. There's something I've
Yes.
learned. There's more self love. There's more compassion because everything starts within us. So we need to have compassion for us and self love for us so that we're able to actually give it to other people. And circling back to the whole point that you were making about authenticity and connection and your uncle, there's such a strong theme of legacy and generational influence in Southern Stock. What conversations do you hope families would take away from for healing in the difficult moments after, by reading your story? What are the moments that you feel they can take away from that to help them in their hard times?
Let's see. That's a very good question. I got to think on that one. I think that, like you said, we all have our moments. Like we don't all, I certainly don't have my stuff all together. I cried this morning, and then
Same here.
I pulled myself out of it. I think
Yeah.
that we have to realize that, look at this guy who everybody thought he had pardon my French, he had his
Say
shit
it.
together, right?
Yes.
He was the biggest celebrity in the South at the time and all of Appalachia. Everybody thought, he was 6'4" and good looking and had all the women and all the fast cars, and he was winning these races and just could get any promotion and any sponsor he wanted. And he struggled inside with demons
Yeah.
of his own. And at times he was sad. So I think you can learn that we're just, look at the biggest celebrity out there right now, whoever it is.
Selena
And
Gomez. Let's
Selena
bring that.
Gomez, Justin Bieber, Taylor
Justin
Swift, like
Bieber.
whoever it is, guaranteed they have dark moments too, because we're all human. And that's part of the human experience
It is.
we're able to feel all of those emotions. And it's okay to feel sad sometimes. It's okay to cry. I had to tell myself this because I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get out of bed? Or why can't I? And I have to tell myself it's okay to be sad. I'm sad today. It's all right. Let it just wash
Right.
over me, accept it for what it is, and then try to pick myself up later,
Right.
and come out of it. If you're blessed to have a good friend, call a friend. If you feel like you don't have anybody, call Hope Unite, because
Right.
listen, I know you guys have some really good listening ears there and can give some
Yes.
really good advice, because I think sometimes people they feel alone. They feel like they're the only one that is experiencing this possibly, or how could I get so low? And you're not, because there are so many people out there suffering too and going through the same thing. And if we could just all find each other and connect and let each other know, like,
That
it's
you
okay.
matter.
You matter, that you matter. Every single
You
person
do.
matters. The person in the
Everything.
grocery store line that's grumbling because something's too expensive or there's too many people in line or whatever, goodness knows what they went through that day, right?
Right.
The person that cuts you off on the road, maybe don't beat back at them, maybe don't get too angry because, maybe they're headed to the hospital. Maybe I don't know. I feel like, and I get angry sometimes too in traffic and all this stuff. I'm not perfect. But I feel like if we just gave people kind of the benefit of the doubt and say, like, well, do we really know what they're going through?
That is a great answer to that question. That's what we can tell families, that are
Yeah.
going through stuff. Because you know what? It's the family unit. The people closest to us sometimes can be the ones that challenge us the most, right?
right.
They challenge
That's
us
right.
to grow. They challenge our patience. I'm saying this as a mother of 3, that they challenge my patience,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But we challenge theirs too. It's a double way street. So I think, my thoughts on what you just said, Gena, was showing compassion and having enough humility to say, I'm not perfect either, helps cultivate that unconditional love between two people. Because just like you said, we're all human having a human experience, and we all have pain that lives in that human experience. We all have imperfections and wounded behaviors that live within that human experience. And I really do feel like when we grasp that there's something that happens within our hearts to be able to give that to other people, give that to our families, give that to our loved ones, give the grace to the person on the road that is just cut us off. And I also get mad and do road
yeah.
rage. I'm like, that effing ass. And then I'm like,
Right.
okay, bless you. Literally.
Right. Like,
At
God
my
bless
first,
you.
yes, that's what I do.
Here's my middle finger, but God bless you.
Yeah, I've done that too. I've been like, "Ah," and then I'm like, oh, catch myself.
Yeah.
Blessings. They're probably having a worse day than most. Okay.
Who knows?
Who knows?
I have a friend, he's a photographer. And he told me about a year ago, we were talking about something, I forget whether it was politics, heaven forbid, or bad. We're just talking about like,
Heaven
I
forbid.
forget what we were talking about. And the subject of like someone being bad or good or whatever came up. And he said, I don't believe that there's necessarily bad and good. He said, I just believe the root of what we all do is we're all just looking for love. So the man, right, the man that's the man that maybe cheats on his wife is looking for love. or the woman that steals an apple from the grocery store. She's root of what she's doing is love because she's trying to feed her children. And that really resonated with me because I thought, wow, the root of everything really is love, right? We all want it. We all crave it
Yes.
in different forms.
But
But if we look at it that way and go like, well, why was that person doing XYZ? The root of it's got to be something in themselves that needed love or attention at that moment. I
yes,
don't know.
and a lot
I'm
of
gonna
it
change
comes
the way
from No, I love the way you did that, but a lot comes from our upbringing. And I don't know if you guys have heard the saying, hurt people. But
Yes.
that saying I've heard years ago, and I would say it up through my mind, and it really resonated with me. I want to say this year when somebody hurt me, actually, a few people that were close to me hurt me over the last few years. And instead of taking it as, oh, I can't believe, and of course, first I did. I was like, ow, I can't believe they did that.
Well, we all do that, right?
Right. But it's making the intention to sit back and be objective and say, they're hurting. Because most people aren't out to get you. By the
No.
way, most people are not. They're just living in their own safety guards. They're guarded, and they're guarded for good reason because many of them are the kindest, sweetest, gentlest people that were sensitive, that were beat down or hurt multiple times, and now they grow that armor, and so they don't want to let anyone in, especially like in regards to your dad who cheated on your mom, right? It's like he loved her so much, but I'm sure that there's like a conundrum. It's like, I want love, but I can't accept love, so I
Right. Or maybe I
sabotage,
don't deserve love.
or I
Some
don't
people feel
deserve
that way,
love. Yep.
right?
And
Right.
that could be the narrative that is going on in their brain. Well, if that's the narrative, that they don't deserve love and they meet someone that they love, they're going to sabotage it subconsciously. I mean, this
Right.
is neurological truths that we're sharing. And this is one of the reasons that I'm such a big advocate for therapy. I think every person on the planet Earth should have a therapist. And I know that might be hard for some people to hear, and they're like, I don't need that. Okay. But a therapist is just someone to help guide you. Now, do I think you need to find the right therapist for you? Yes, because not the same therapist you're going to connect with. It might take
That's
you
right.
4 or 5 tries to find the right person that can connect you. Because the truth is, our brains, they haven't figured our brains all out. But what we do know for sure is that it's moldable. So neuroplasticity is a real thing. And there are things we can do to develop healthy neural pathways, even if we've had a plethora of trauma through our lives. So I encourage the people out there that maybe feel like there's no hope, or feel like they can't change, or feel like this is just who they are and they're just going to live the rest of their lives that way, to stand up and say, no, you know what? I want to be the best version of me. And I want to take the heartache that I have experienced in this life, and I want to help. I want to do a kind act every day. I mean, that's what we encourage people to do, is to be kind to yourself and one other person every day. We all can do that. Kind to self first, because that's the most important, and then kind to somebody else each day. And it actually raises the serotonin and dopamine in the brain scientifically.
Right.
So kindness is one of my tools of healing. Frequency music's one of my tools. Art is one of my tools. What are your tools? Put in the
That's a good.
comments below what your tools are that you use, because you matter too. So I'd love to hear back from you guys. What tools do you use to help you stay grounded in a very ungrounded world?
And hey, it could be anything. It could be, right? It could be writing in your journal. It could be yoga.
Drinking a lot
It
of
could be
alcohol. Just kidding.
whatever.
That's a coping mechanism that will harm you, everyone.
You know what I
So
do?
that
You
was
know
a
what I
joke.
do when I need to cope? Well, I write. That's cathartic for me. But really, if I'm in a really low place and I have a lot of because I tend to, as I get older, I have a lot of anxiety, and I go through periods of depression. I don't know if we would call it depression, sadness, whatever it is. I color like a small child. I sit down with a
Yeah.
little fairy coloring book and my little colored pencils. And most of the time I just use crayons and I color, and it's amazing when you concentrate on something that way that's just fun for you, I
Mhm.
mean, I start to feel better within minutes. And I think whatever it is, people will say, well, but that's silly, or what? It's not. It's whatever.
I
If you like jumping rope, go jump rope. If you like putting on a pair of roller skates, you and I have talked about this.
yes.
Put on a pair of roller skates, if you're able. I don't think anything is too silly, right?
Dance
If it's
around your living room.
dance around your living room. Yeah, exactly. Put on your silliest music and just do that. Whatever. Eat the
And
cupcake.
yeah, right? Anything that takes your mind out of the negative spiral that is
That's right.
healthy. I was joking about the drink alcohol thing, by the
I
way.
know. We know.
I mean,
We
you
know.
can, but it won't be
But
super
it's not
healing
gonna.
for you.
Right,
With
right,
yeah, it's going to numb but not heal. And that is
right.
what we all about. Now, I will share one of the things that I do truly believe in from my point of view is holistic healing. So what I mean by that is taking care of the mind, the body, and the soul. So
Yes.
our programming at Hope Unite is very focused on holistic healing. So what we say is like read a good book that can take you up. You could get Southern Stock, read that book. It's very entertaining, guys. So go
You
get
can
it,
also
guys
listen
and
to it
gals.
on Audible if you don't
Or
want
you
to.
can listen to it on Audible. Right. These are just small steps we can do to get out of like our negative thought patterns, right? Is
Right,
get into a
right.
good book. Listen to a good song, journal, doing these little things. Say something nice to yourself if
Yeah.
you can. Some days I can, some days I can't, to be quite
And
honest. But
sometimes that is a hard thing, right? Sometimes
yeah,
you're not feeling it. But if you can, what about like a gratitude journal? Have you ever tried that? I
I
thought
have.
that was pretty effective for me. Like I just write like even just one thing in the morning. What am I grateful for? And then one thing at night. And sometimes it could just be, I'm grateful for my legs because they'll take me where I need to go, or I'm
Yes.
grateful for, whatever it is that I have a roof over my head or whatever it is, there's
Uh,
something that all of us can be grateful for. It could be, look, and if you don't have a roof over your head, I've been there before too. I've been homeless,
So have
and I
I.
think, right, and
Yep.
so have you.
So
So
have
I
I.
think that in that case, maybe you're grateful for a sunny day, or maybe you're grateful for a rainy day,
Right. Gratitude is the highest vibrational frequency we can, if anyone gets what I'm saying, hopefully. It's the best
Yeah.
thing that we can do. It's the highest vibrational frequency. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, Gina. A gratitude list or a gratitude journal. When I come down my stairs every morning, I have a picture that's there coming down the stairs and it says, be grateful. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, every morning, I'm like, no matter where I am in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm grateful for coffee. I'm grateful for the carpet, for my feet. I love that you said that because there are people that don't have legs. There are
Right.
people that can't get around like that. And it's all about stopping. It's being able to be intentionally stopping any thoughts that are harming us. Okay. So
That's right.
that is number one. And then our body, we're all in bodies. I believe we're souls living in a body. You also believe that, Gina, as far
Yep.
as I know. So,
Souls, and we have different looking avatars, and that's all. We
yes,
all have our
different
avatars.
avatars. I always said Gina got the best avatar.
Oh,
I tell her that all the
you're
time. I'm like,
hilarious.
girl, your avatar's hot.
You're
I'm
so
just saying. But anyway, so do some sort of
wow.
self care. It could be giving your hands a massage. Have you ever given
Right.
yourself a neck massage? I mean,
Oh,
that's
it's
something that I've
nice.
been doing lately. And I'm like, this feels so good for 5 minutes. That's a form of self care.
Yes.
And then what we do for the soul is we encourage people to be kind to other people. Like
Yes.
find them and intentionally do it. A lot of us are just kind because we are, but when you
Yes.
make the intention, there's something that happens that's even more impactful. I've seen that in my own self is like making the intention, I am going to do this for someone today. And then I look around for the opportunity to do it.
Mhm.
One of the
Mhm.
things that I've shared with others, and this is something you all can do out there, is smile at everyone you see and see how many smiles you get back.
That's right.
That's transferring positive energy,
That's
and
right.
that's what this world needs. Listen, for everybody who may agree or may not agree, the world is a shit show. since
Yeah.
COVID. I mean, I'm just saying, and we
In a
need
bit
to
of a
be
mess.
more focused on being intentional and positive and creating, a difference in our environment. And every
That's right.
single person can do that. Every person can create a difference in their environment just by being intentionally kind, or that intentional person to have a conversation or give a compliment or open the door for everybody or let people in when they have their blinker on. It's like, if
Right.
I always say, if we had a day, or even let's say we had 7 days, and I think we're going to do this coming up, so stay tuned. 7 days of kindness where we had a bunch of people, I'd love to say the whole world that was affected by COVID. So everybody affected by COVID, everybody on the planet Earth in a negative way, everybody on the planet Earth just connect with one other person in a kind way, we would have world peace. It's
Yeah.
not about one person doing a lot. It's about all of us doing a little. And that's what
Yes.
Hope Unite is really about. And Gena, I'm so grateful that you came alongside us to
Thank you. I'm
let
honored.
people know that they matter. And I'm honored too. We're honored too to have you. Gena's one of the best human beings that I know. I know
Aw.
her personally, and I'm so grateful that she is a part of my life. She's a
Thank you.
part of the tribe, the support.
Very
And I
happy to
just
be
want
part
to,
of the tribe.
I just want to share how much I love you. And is there anything you want to leave our guests with as we end this podcast session or this interview?
I think we touched on it, is that you matter. That's the whole point, that we all
Yes.
matter, you know, whether you're the introvert or the extrovert, whether you're the fast driver or the slow driver, whether you're an artist or a very reasonable, logical sort of person, we all matter, each and every one of us. And I think if we recognize that in each other, the world's just going to be a
Better.
amazing place. And we're going to raise the vibration, right?
Yes,
That's the
girl.
whole thing.
Thanks for being a part. All
Thank
right,
you.
guys, you matter. You heard it. That's the message we want to leave with you today. Go out into your world and make a difference because you can. Thanks. See you next time.